Welcome back to Newsmax Now. Time for your latest health radar. Many of us will go under the knife at one point or another during our lives, and now doctors say being prepared for surgery could help ensure a successful procedure. You can see the list of steps you can take right here. They include walking a mile each day, controlling your intake of alcoholic beverages, and reviewing medications to make sure doctors know what drugs you're taking. Most importantly, quit smoking. Experts say smoking doubles your risk of heart failure before or after surgery. A new study at the University of Pennsylvania shows that gene therapy could restore vision to people suffering from eye disease. An official with the National Eye Institute calls this approach safe, but believes more research is still needed. Danish researchers say strength training could help you reduce tension-type headaches. A new study claims developing shoulder and neck muscles could relieve certain pains associated with those headaches. And a Colorado dog is patient zero in what's being called the largest outbreak of the Black Plague in America since 1924. Officials say 4 people, including the dog's owner, have now tested positive for the infection.
Thank you, Miranda. The Black Plague, really? We need to talk a little bit more about this. So let's bring in Newsmax's Deputy Health Editor, Nick Tate. Nick, should we really be worried about the spread of the pneumonic plague, or is this an isolated incident here?
Well, it's not an isolated incident, John. I think it surprises a lot of Americans to know that, in fact, pneumonic plague strikes about 8 to 10 Americans every year. It is something that we see. It has not entirely gone away, even though we associate it with the Middle Ages. And what they're now finding in this case is it appears that dogs can spread it to humans. This is only the second case that they know of. In addition, we have not believed that human-to-human transmission has been possible, but that's a case here, and the concern is that maybe this particular bacterial infection is evolving and mutating in a way that make it more contagious and therefore more dangerous.
All right, we heard about it also recently, this round of dog flu or something that was going around in the Midwest. Talk to us about this and, those two cases together. How are dogs spreading these diseases among themselves, and how is a dog spreading a Black Plague to a person?
Well, in fact, most dogs, most animals, and humans don't share diseases, but some of those viruses and some of those bacterial infections that cycle between animals and humans are particularly virulent. We think of bird flu, we think of swine flu, we think of Ebola, which they think may have originated in bats. What happens when when bacteria or viruses spread between animals and humans, that it becomes more virulent, they evolve more defenses, and so drugs used to treat these conditions become ineffective, and that's really the danger. Now, the point is we should not panic. These are small numbers of cases. Your dog is not a significant threat to most people in the household, but it's important for officials to know, for doctors to know that these things can happen.
Now, Nick, you mentioned that this is happening around 8 to 10 times a year. People are being diagnosed with the Black Plague. Is it in certain parts of the country?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about where this is showing up.
Principally the American Southwest. The animals that are most affected by the fleas that are infected with pneumonic plague or Black Death plague are prairie dogs. And what they think happened in the case of this Colorado pit bull terrier that infected 4 people is that a flea probably jumped from a prairie dog that the dog was messing with or chasing, infected the dog, and then the dog infected his owner, a friend, and 2 veterinary specialists. So again, rare cases, but they can happen. One other thing this case underscores: hospitals don't routinely test for pneumonic bacterial infections, and in this case they really need to start doing it. It's a case that highlights that the protections in hospitals need to get better.
Okay, so we're looking at a few of these cases here. You say it's not cause for a major concern at this point, but did you also say that you do think hospitals will start putting this on their round of tests? We'll see more of these tests across the country?
In this case, it took them almost a week and a half to identify the case that felled the owner of the dog. So it's a new alert. The CDC is saying that, in fact, hospitals need to be more vigilant in looking for these things, as do veterinary specialists. So there's a new round of alerts that's going out, and the hope is that we can catch it more quickly.
All right, what's the treatment like for a human once they're diagnosed with this?
Antibiotics knock it out most of the time. 93% of people who are infected and are not treated do die, so it's got a very high fatality rate, but it's virtually curable with antibiotics, and that's what happened in the 4 cases of the individuals that were affected here. So antibiotics, at least for now, are effective against the plague.
Okay, so everybody who has contracted the disease has been treated and everything's going to be fine. Is there any reason to believe that this could grow into an even bigger problem if it's not addressed very quickly?
The big concern is that since this is only the second case they know of a dog contracting the plague, and one of the few cases, actually may be the only case of human-to-human transmission, the concern is that that it's mutating the way that the flu mutates year to year, and if that's the case, it could make it more common and more of a problem in the year ahead. So they're keeping a close eye, and we all need to as well.
All right, just one more thing for us to keep our eye on, and we know you will do that over at newsmaxhealth.com. You can catch Nick Tate's work there, and you can also learn how to survive the baby boomer financial crisis with Nick in the newly released book, Da Vinci's Baby Boomer Survival Guide. You can get that at babyboomers711.com, babyboomers711.com. Nick Tate, always great to see you, sir. We'll see you back very soon.
My pleasure.
All right, we are going to be coming up here with more Newsmax Now right after the break here. We'll bring back with our headlines and punchlines. Here's a look at what's coming up later here today, later on Newsmax TV. We're coming right back after this.